hope everyone is having a good day so far. And this is part 2 of my tutorial for this crochet top. So in the first tutorial, basically we were just making these 2 panels. And I already have these on my little mannequin. If you do not have a mannequin, that's okay. You can just lay these flat and pin them down. So for each panel, you want to make sure that whatever way your stitch is going, they're going the opposite way on each side. So my little, if you can see better, my little petals are facing out. So make sure they're facing the opposite way and out on the other side as well. And when you pin it, make sure you pin it inside out. So this is the wrong side, and that's the way you want to pin it. So when you sew these up, the stitches are in the inside. And this crocheted pattern is basically the same thing on both sides, but I like the front to have the front part of the double crochets. I just like the front part of those better. So you can do whatever way you like. It doesn't really matter because the pattern goes both ways. So in the front, I have these pinned right here, and I'm just gonna stitch up a few of these, and I think I'll do 12 stitches, and I'll stitch those up right there. And then on the sides, I have these pinned, and I will do probably about 18 stitches up. And this will give you your sleeve, and I'll do that on both sides. So I have this pinned, and this will be your sleeve. And then I'll turn this around and show you the back real quick. Let me see. Okay. And again, here's the back. The back can be, you can do really however many stitches you want. But I think I did probably 10 or 12 on the back as well. You can always gauge it if you want more coverage on your front. You can always sew up more stitches. So basically that's all we're going to be working on right now, and I'm going to go to my drawing table and I'll meet you there. Okay, so for this tutorial you will need a pair of scissors, your crochet hook, and I'm just using a size G, which is a 4.25. You'll need some yarn needles. I'm going to have this big one right here. I use these for stitch markers. They're so much easier because I don't actually have real stitch markers, but these work amazing. And you'll need some little sewing pins. And let's get started. So let me move some of this stuff out of the way real quick. Okay, so I already got this pinned, and it's still wrong side out. And I'm gonna probably just start on this front right here. So this is probably long enough. My little tails, I did not sew in my tails yet. If you have, all you have to do is get some yarn and thread your needle and go through the one right here and just, tie a little knot like you're about to sew. But since I have my little tail still right here, I'm just going to use this. So I'm going to get my needle, and the easiest way I thread these little yarn needles is I put it over my finger like this, and I pinch it. Let me see if I can do this. This yarn might be too thick, I don't really know. Okay, so let's just do it this way. I just do this, put my needle under there. Let me see if I can get closer. I just wrap it around my finger, hold it tight with my other one, put my needle under there, hold it against the needle, pull the thread by the needle and pinch it, and then see it's right here. I'm just gonna stick it through the hole right there. That way I don't have to deal with the ends fraying on me and it's getting hard to get in there. So maybe in another tutorial I'll try and show you a little bit easier on that, but for now we're just gonna go with that. So this is gonna be the front, so I'm gonna sew up, I guess probably 12 stitches, and you can actually see all the stitches. And I'm just gonna remove these 2 pins right here because this is just the part that I'm working on and I don't want to get stuck. I get stuck all the time with these things, so I'm just gonna remove them. Alright, I literally just, there's many ways to sew up projects, but I'm just gonna go back and forth. So you just want to go in each of these right across from each other. So here's one, there's 2. I want to make sure I have it underneath both stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, and I want to keep pulling it out because I don't want it to get bunched up, and 1 more, 12. So once I get that sewed up, I'm just going to make a knot with this. So I'm going to go around to the opposite side and go through towards this way. And then put my needle through that hoop. Sorry, this yarn is pretty dark, so it's hard to see. Let me do that again. I'm just going to put my needle through that hoop and make a knot. And then I'm just gonna sew in this tail anywhere. Probably go back through the middle of this right here, just to hide it and get it out of the way. And then I can just snip that off. So I'll flip that around so you can see real quick. And that's the front of it. So I'm going to do one side with you, and then I'll let y'all finish up the rest while I finish up these. I'm going to remove these pins. And I have another tail right here. And on the sides, I'm going to go about 18 stitches up. And that leaves me with a good enough sleeve. So I'm going to show you one more time. Let me try to get closer. So I just wrap my yarn around my finger, put my needle here, hold that, let go, pull it tight against it. So I create that little fold right there in the yarn, pull my needle out, and that lets me slide that yarn right in there. Alright, so I'm gonna go about 18 And I need to make sure I got my edges together. All right. And there's, like I said, there's other ways to do it. I just like to do it this way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure everything's lined up. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 3 more. Okay, here we go. That one, there we go. Alright, I got my 18, so I'm going to tie this off one more time, and I just want to make sure, pull it, make sure it's not cinched up at all. So this time I'm going to come over to this side and go through that way. And then put my needle through that loop right there and pull that, make it a knot. And go and hide my tail in these stitches. Basically, you just weave in anywhere you feel like it, just to kind of get the tail hidden and out of the way. And especially on clothes, things that are going to get stretched out and stuff, once you snip these little tails, you can always go back with some fabric glue and just put a little dot on where that's at. And I'll do that later, but just put a little dot on where that's at, and that'll dry clear, and it won't let that tail unravel. So that's how you sew up your top parts. And I'm gonna go off camera and do the rest of this, and then I will be back on in a minute. Okay, so I got all my little seams sewed up, and I've got it turned right side out now. As you can see, this is the right side, and that's the seam. And I'm actually on the back part, because now we're gonna take a different color, or you could leave it like this, just like this if you wanted to, but I'm gonna put a little pop of color, just that's just how I am. I love a little pop of color. But I'm gonna do a single crochet all the way around this edge of the V-neck and the edges of the sleeves. So I'm gonna start in the back when I do this, and I've never tried this yarn before. This is from Walmart. It's just basic yarn, mainstays, and it actually doesn't feel that bad. It's actually soft for the price, I guess. It's inexpensive, and I just wasn't sure about it, but I'm gonna give it a try. It's really nice. And this is, let's see, it's called Gold, and it's 100% acrylic, and I really like it. So I thought this would go really well with this color right here. So let me see. Oh good, found the middle pretty easy. So I guess I'll see how I like this yarn. I would love it if it was pretty good. So I'm just gonna create a slip knot. I'm gonna do it my way. Alright, and then I'm just going to start in this first little stitch right here. Move that to the back. Alright. So I'm just going to do a single crochet right here. Make sure that's tight. Alright. And I'm just going to do a single crochet around this whole thing. I want to make sure I'm actually in the stitch and not between the stitch. So yeah, I actually like that. I'm sorry it's so bright in this room that my camera is looking kind of foggy. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue all this all the way around, and when you get to the point on the other side, you're just gonna go from one stitch and cross over to the other and go all the way to the other side. Okay, so I've crocheted the entire length of the neck, and I'm at the end of my row of single crochets, and I'm just gonna do a slip stitch on this other side, and then I'm gonna cut that, and then I will sew that one in later. But let me show you, because I think that color is beautiful with this. So that's the neckline. Oh yeah, I love that color. Alright, so now I'm gonna do the sleeves the same way. I'm just gonna start in this first one at the armpit area and just do single crochets all the way around, just one row, and then I'll do a slip stitch and then tie it off and then sew that in later. Just do both of those, and then we will get to working on this edge right here and get this complete. Okay, now I have all of my edging done in that separate color, and I really love that. So now that I have that done, I'm gonna throw my other one up here to show you exactly what we're gonna be doing. So you always want to start from the back, because you want any of your seams to be on the back with any of this. This part really isn't going to show a seam. You can kind of see a seam, but really the pattern kind of hides that well. So I'm only going to do a single crochet all the way around the bottom, and I'm going to do 2 rows of that, of the same color that this is. So let me switch over there real quick. So here's the back. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to use this color right here, because I never do another color on a row that is not a straight edge, because this is actually the sides of these, and it's very rough. And if I did this color right here on this, you would see the stitches all over the place. So let me go ahead and get this started real quick. So basically just start anywhere. I'm going to start right in the seam right here. And then I'm just gonna start putting single crochets all the way around. And you're just gonna be pushing it through wherever you can get it. So you can put them there and in a place like this. You can just put it within this space. I'm gonna do 2 right here. Then I'm gonna do 1 in this little hole right here. And I'm gonna push 1 through right here. And I'm gonna just do this all the way around. It's gonna be a little bit difficult, but just basically try to find any little spot you can put them in. And if there really is no spot, just put it in that space. So do 1 row of single crochets, and then when you come around and get to the end of this, you just do another row of single crochets, and you don't have to do a slip knot into this one, just go, or a slip stitch, just go and put, after you get to the end of this row, just start your next row right here on top of this first single crochet. Okay, now we are going to be working on this high waistband right here with the second color. Move that out of the way and show you. So after you're done with your 2 rows of single crochets around, you can just join do with the other side with a slip stitch and just tie off, and then start your next color. I just tied it on there, and I chained 2, and I'm actually going to do a double crochet in that same stitch, and that will be 1 double crochet, but it won't leave a big gap right there where that chain space is. And then I'm just gonna go all the way around doing double crochets. And I actually ended up with 140 stitches around. The stitch count isn't necessarily that important. You just want to make sure that you're not cinched up too tight. Like, you want to make sure it's pretty even around. And then we'll straighten out the stitches when we start our pattern. So I'm just gonna continue doing my double crochets all the way around, and I'll meet you back here when I'm at the end. Okay, I'm to my end on this one, and I'm not gonna do a slip stitch because I'm just working in the round. I'm just gonna do the next row is going to be a row of single crochets, and I'm just going to start that single crochet right on top of that first double crochet, and I can actually put a stitch marker right there. I'm going to use my handy dandy paper clip right there on that first single crochet, and that will just keep place of this beginning of this row. And continue doing single crochet all the way around. Now you can do different rows. If you don't want to do another, like a single crochet row, you can do 2 more double crochet rows, or whatever kind of stitch you want to do for this middle band, really. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and I'll meet you at the end. Alright, so I finished my single crochet row, And then I went ahead and did one more double crochet. I slip stitch into the beginning double crochet. I'm just going to remove this, just keeps my place so it doesn't unravel. Move that. Then I'm going to go ahead and tie this off. Alright, so I'm going to go back to my maroon color. Guess it would be maroon. I'm only going to do one row of single crochets, and then my next row I'm going to do double crochets, but I'm going to do some increase stitches. Get that back on there. Okay. So this is just going to be a row of single crochets. And I don't have to use my stitch marker because I'll be able to see it. So I'm just going to do this all the way around, and I'll meet you back here at the end. Okay, I finished my row of single crochets. Now I'm starting a row of double crochets, but this row is going to be increases. And it's going to be increases. I think I'm going to do 6 stitches and then increase. I have 140 stitches already, and I'm going to increase it to 162. Because the pattern needs to be divisible by 6. So I need to add 22 more stitches. And so I'm just going to add those 22 stitches every 7th one. I know it's a little bit difficult, but just, I guess, this is going to basically make the shirt flare out just a bit over your hips, so it's going to fit perfectly like that. I guess everyone's gonna have, especially if you're doing a small or medium size, a small or large size or bigger, you're gonna have different stitches. So take whatever stitches you have and probably add 12, and then that'll give you 2 more sets of this right here, the little pattern. That'll give you 2 more sets, and then add how many ever numbers you need to make it divisible by 6. So there's a little bit of math involved in this, but hopefully you understand that. So I'm just gonna do, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm gonna do 2 in this one right here, so 7 and 8. So that's how I'm gonna do it. So there's 2 in that one, and that's an increase. So I'm gonna do 6 more singles. These are double crochets, but they're only single double crochets. 2, 3, let me get some more yarn. 4, 5, 6, and then I'm gonna do an increase, so 7, 8. So I did that increase in that one stitch right there, and just continue doing that. And even if you're just 1 or even maybe 2 stitches off at the end, it's okay, because it'll kind of even itself out once we start the actual pattern. this pattern right here. Once we start that, it'll kind of even itself out. So even if you have like just a few and it's not going to add up when you're doing this part, hold on. When you're doing this part, you can kind of, you know, just depends. You don't necessarily have to have 2 spaces, but once you've finished that row, the next row it'll be completely even, and the rows, all the rows after that will be completely even. So don't worry if you kind of mess up on the counting. It'll all even itself out. So just continue this increase row all the way around. Okay, I'm back to the end. Now I know I'm a couple of stitches shy of my target number, but that's good because I wanted to show you that it really does not matter as long as you're kind of close to your target. So after you've done that row, here I'll kind of lay it out and show you. As you can see, it starts to flare out, and that's exactly what you want. So I'm gonna go here, and now since we have, this is our first row of our pattern, so the next row of our pattern is gonna be, I'm just gonna chain 1, and then I'm gonna do a single crochet right here. I'm gonna chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and I'm gonna do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch. And this is just like the pattern that we were doing for the sleeves. So chain 2, skip 2, and do a single crochet. I'll do a couple more, but that's how it's going to start looking. Chain 2, skip 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch, chain 2, skip 2, and single crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the same space, chain 2, skip 2, and single crochet. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I will get back with you to finish this end off, because it's probably not going to be the exact number you need, and that's what I want it to be, so I can show you that it really doesn't matter. I have completed that round of the little petals, the puff stitches. Now I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna slip stitch right into the top of that one stitch right there. So that completes that round. The next round, I'm gonna just start from here and I'm gonna chain 4. That's gonna count as a double crochet and a chain 1. And I'm gonna go into this space right here. Chain 1, double crochet into that space, chain 1, double crochet into the space in between these flowers, chain 1, and just continue on like that. So you go double crochet into this one. Let me fix that. Chain 1, double crochet into this next space, chain 1, double crochet into this space right here, chain 1, and continue all the way around your work. Coming to the end of that row, I'm gonna chain 1, and I've got one more double crochet to do, chain 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of this chain right here. So 1, 2, 3. If I can get the thing in there. There we go. And I'm just going to slip stitch into that. So that row is complete. And that actually completes the stitch pattern. So the next row is going to be a solid row of double crochets. And I'll just real quick show you how to go ahead and do that next row. So on this one, I'm actually going to do the chain 3 and then do a double crochet right next to it, and then then double crochet into the top of that one, into the chain 1 space, top of that one, chain 1 space. Alright, so just keep doing that all the way around. Double crochet into the one on the previous row, and 1 double crochet into the chain 1 space. So just do that all the way around, and then that's when you're gonna do your repeat rows. So this is actually row 1 again, which is this row right here. And then you want to repeat row 2, row 3, and row 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows to this pattern, and you just continue doing that for as many rows as you want to, so you can make it as long as you want to. I'm gonna pull this one back up here. So on this one I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 rows of that pattern, that specific pattern. And you can actually just end the edging with that pattern. I did it a little bit different. I wanted to give it a high-low, so it's kind of higher in the front and lower in the back. I will do a different tutorial for that one, but you can really do it any kind of way you want. You can end it with 1 row of double crochet, you can do 2 or 3 rows of double crochet, or just kind of, you know, spice it up a bit. Do exactly what you want to do with that. And then I just did a single row of the number 2 color in single crochets, just to kind of tie it all in with all the other colors. So that is how you create this beautiful crocheted top. And also I wanted to mention something real quick. You can also make this a little tie-up right here. You can crochet just 1 long chain and then just find little spaces. You can do it here or anywhere in between here, but want to get it even on both sides, and then you can kind of do like a little corset style lace up and put a little bow right here if you want. That's just an option. I'm just going to keep mine like this, but I really hope y'all enjoyed this, and I hope it was easy to understand and go along with. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to ask me in the comments, and I will answer them the best I know how. And don't forget to like this video, and please subscribe to my channel. and definitely let me know how y'all did. I would love to see some of your projects. All right, y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you.